we are back at it again, recording and getting to it. Change up the screen a little bit bigger here. That works for me. All right, so I guess first quick topic, side topics. I have one other, maybe two other rants, and then plenty of trial stuff to talk about. But first, so Nick, you guys had a day off. You got the new car rolling there?
No day off. We're doing state testing, and since the tornadoes went through 2 weeks ago, Oak Mountain, which is the other side of the ridge from our school, a lot of those schools got hit. So we tested this morning, and the Oak Mountain Middle School came and used our building this afternoon to test this afternoon. So we're kind of flipping it. So we, as a middle school, kind of got the afternoon off. But I mean, our kids are doing virtual learning. The great thing about this whole thing is they got to do that.
Yeah, you still off is in the sense of not in building anymore. It's like that term has almost been redefined in a sense. Like
it's only state emergencies that they'll say you're off. Otherwise, like it's like I said, today's an e-learning day for normal kids. Friday we get to go get our second vaccine. So Friday's an e-learning day. And actually, I don't know if you guys have done your calendars, but we have several e-learning days plugged into our system next year, which is really cool to see that they're already starting to
implement some of the stuff that we talked about that does work. Yeah.
Yep. So, but yeah, no, we got a car. So with everything going on, we looked at it. We had the new truck. We have the RV. We said, look, we're just not even going to be able to use them as much as we want. So we put them up for sale and sold them like that over spring break. And so, yeah, we got Amy, we got her a nice little SUV, little Honda Santa Fe Sport that she enjoys or she's going to enjoy. So, yeah, it's good stuff.
All right. Cool deal. Cool deal. Yeah. Like I said, we're kind of like in the market, just, and we've narrowed it down to like RAV4s or a Forester, but test drive them on interstates. Now it's just, the benefit of not having to have one is being able to literally walk in and be like, we're just taking our time here and need to see what we got. So, but moving on, I was going to say 2 quick, I guess, rants just because it is our show and we can do it. Like one, I don't get on like Facebook a lot and like get into like the rants or like involved in people's stuff because I just choose not to. But I was like, I do have a platform I could say here. I was like, one, Tyler's gonna laugh because like I'm always like, man, his brother posts some like absurd, confounded, like, dude, like, how are you related to him type thing sometimes.
Like swimming is equally as tough as wrestling. Yeah, that was one of them.
Swimming is equally tough in its own right in a different way, but not the way he said it. Like, because he said it like along terms of like several other things. I'm like, all right, now he's done lost his mind with lump summing things.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I was like, the one that like got me that he posted was, and I have followed nothing about it because we never made any of the trade offers for him. But apparently, Houston quarterback is on trial, or there is a trial, or. I know that there were allegations, but I haven't followed it. But he posted something, and like I couldn't believe what he did was like he put the person's name out there. Granted, it's I guess public access, like if you can see it or you can watch it or whichever. But the way he said it was like he put this person's name out, the person making the accusations, and he said it went from feeling uncomfortable to rape real quick. Used her name and then said, "I don't believe you, victim number 1," or something. I was like, dude, like that is so insensitive and crossing so many weird lines, regardless of whose trial or whatever. I was just like, somebody needs to like rein it back a little bit. Like there were just so many things. And I was like, look, and he's also a father to a daughter. I don't care how quickly something changes. If it changes, like I think everybody should be like, hey, they have the right to. And as also a parent of a son, dude, if somebody ever has a change of you have to like, nope, okay, done. Like there is no shady middle ground on that one. So I was just kind of like, as a parent of a daughter and a son, I just felt it was worth saying. I didn't want to go into his stuff and post it all just because I was like, then it leads into stupid arguments that people that make original posts aren't really probably going to get your point anyway. So I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, the thing I took issue with on that post that he made, I mean, I'm waiting till like obviously there's an investigation going on, so I'm not going to like speculate too much, obviously. But the thing that I really disliked with his post is calling her out for working last March and saying, well, she wasn't supposed to do that. So if that's the case, she should be fined. I'm like, okay, now you're
Yeah,
you're
there's
going
all,
like
there's
way
a
too far with
whole
that.
series
Like,
of different things that were just so like I get him being a Clemson fan and wanting to support some, but it was just like so far off the deep end. I was like, man, that's crazy. Um, Last thing I saw was like I'll post a picture later on. Took my dog out for a walk. There was some other accident, like I don't know, people are crazy idiots. Like this one involved another pit bull, and everybody like you read the things on how everybody like the dog's not. It's a dog. It can happen to any dog, or something like a dog and a horse. And I was like, got into it, and like I don't know. I was just like, people need to calm. They flip out. I love people who talk and say things like, if you can never let a dog off leash, or if one were ever to get away from you, you should never own a dog. I was like, clearly you have never owned a dog, because I've seen poodles and like little tiny dogs slip a leash, or which, so common sense, people. So that's my end rant on commonsensical stuff. And then also I had to wear the shirt since for Nick.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Not ready yet.
I'm wearing this one right here. So.
There you go.
USA Wrestling.
Now, as Nick with the perfect lead into USA Wrestling, the trials happened. Where do we start? Like, is it a way?
Start with the fact that you're a jerk for wearing the shirt. Okay, that's where we're starting, and that's where we're ending. So you're a jerk. The shirt is awesome. Thank you, Nick, for showing me the shirt so that you can. Thank you, Ed, for making them. But no, okay, all right. Now on to the trial.
Yeah, you better call me a jerk when we hang out too, because we've got to end it with on that note. Like, there's no other way to end the show.
Oh, you're a jerk. You're a jerk until I have the shirt. You're a jerk until my son has the shirt. You're a jerk until the other coaches hear it. Until then, your name is Mud, and that's what we'll say online. Offline, you know what we're gonna call each other.
Done deal. I love it. But yeah, so we're gonna be printing these up. Beyond me just being a jerk, like seriously. So do we want to talk about like? I guess like I don't know. Does J'den Cox make sense to talk about first, since he didn't actually get to wrestle in the trials, and then talk?
I would say start with it. Yeah, I mean, I would say start with it, since that's what everything started with. Unless you want to go back to Spencer Lee not coming in and Soriano and those guys. I mean, you want to go with the guys that weren't in it first.
Let's kind of cover all that in one thing. Like, first off, like I was so worried about these trials. Not, I guess, worried, but like it seemed like it was like, what was the first one I heard was Imar was out, and then it was Crutchmer, and then, but
Soriano.
I never heard why those two were out. Soriano, I heard because it was either he tested positive or it was contact tracing to him that tested positive. That was there, like a workout partner or something like that.
I never got confirmation on that one.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about those three? Again, the first two, I never heard why they were out, whether it was last minute injury or if it was COVID related, like Spencer's was. And then
I think Imar, what little bit rumbling I've saw or paid attention to, might have been injury.
Might have been injury.
That's the only thing that I picked up from there. I will say, with everything that went on, I wish that there would have been some kind of like foresight, but that goes along with everything else we've talked about since a year ago. We've doing all this, in that the fact that you could have people testing positive and stuff like that, I mean, you don't want to say that you give them a second chance in this situation. You should do it, but there should be some way, that they've done it, that you could do it. But at the end of the day, I don't know.
It kind of leads in also to J'den Cox in this situation, but I wondered the same thing, because like we've seen special circumstance wrestle-offs for the Olympic team in the trials in the past from an injury or something else. Was it the kind of the infamous one is what was his name? James Green did the fake April Fool's Day tweet with his injury of running on the treadmill, hitting his head and passing out, and because he had concussion, couldn't compete. He actually got a wrestle off later on, if I remember correctly. Obviously, he didn't win it because I think it was maybe even against Storm Burroughs. I don't remember, but like, so there have been injury wrestle offs. Is recently also there was also. Now, granted, this was a different case because it was senior level. Was it junior level or under 23s? Because Bo Nickel got
23s
alien, and then was allowed a special wrestle off for that spot.
But how do you do that with J'den Cox, given like why he didn't wrestle? I mean, it seems I know there was a miscommunication, but I mean, it's kind of like one of those things. Like all that could have been avoided had he,
But he made
had
weight
he,
though. Like
yeah.
the thing was, he made weight. Like
It was a minute. It was like a few minutes or a minute later, something like that. Like
So
on
he
the,
so
they
he
did
weighed in
time-
after 8 o'clock and he was over, and then 15 minutes later he was on. So Andrew Hostrasser several years ago busted weight for U.S. Nationals, and he was the #1 guy, and he got a special wrestle off. But I'm sitting here thinking about this. First time I really thought about it. Most of the special wrestle offs have been the guy that has either been sitting out or the #1 contender in that situation. But we're talking about outside of Jaden Cox, the rest of the guys we're talking about, they're not sitting up there at the top.
Yeah,
So they would have had to go through it all. So I mean, really, those guys, it kind of comes down to,
they weren't
hey,
the #1 contender in that spot. But then that also leads now then, so there has been precedent set that like, I don't think anybody will disagree that Jaden Cox is the #1 contender, if we want to call it the #1 contender, or however they want to rank that. Like, I don't think there was anybody who will honestly say, I mean, there might be some people that they didn't expect to see Jaden Cox wrestling Kyle Snyder in the finals. Like,
so could we, like, before we continue further on this, like, just to clarify, like, the whole situation, because the whole situation is very cloudy of like what exactly happened, or at least it was at first. I'm not sure how it is now, but like from what I understood, what was it? Like he missed weight first, then made weight later. But the one that where he made weight later was like, I forget, like after the deadline or after the cutoff, but it was because of his coach not communicating the right time with him or something like that. And that's about like how it went.
The latest story that I saw was weigh-ins ended at 8 o'clock. Okay. According to Jaden Cox and his camp, they thought weigh-ins were until 8:30.
Yep.
Or something of that nature. He showed up at like 8:06, weighed in, was overweight, and like and literally we're talking about, I think they had the times written down. It was like 8:06. So it was like 6 minutes after the cutoff. Like his scales are still there, the whole nine. It took him 15 minutes, did you say, Nick? It was like 15, 13 minutes. So not even, it didn't even make it, not even 30 minutes. So 8:06 plus 15. So
it wasn't 8:30. Like it really wasn't.
It was 8:21. Or like I thought I saw something where it was like 8:19. But anyway, 8:21, 8:19, he steps on the scale on weight. And then they said this weigh-in doesn't count because the scales closed at 8 o'clock.
And see, my only thing is one, he should have either made weight on like the first time. And I know this is a hard thing to like talk about, but like he should have made weight the first time, or two, he should have been more prepared, and like that miscommunication should not have happened. They should have like double checked. And I mean, I know that's
here's the
like,
tricky thing.
I don't want to sound like I'm blaming them, but at the same time, like you need to be on stuff.
A USA rep, like works for USA Wrestling. So his coach is like, if you get the message from your coach who works for USA Wrestling on what time weigh-in is, like, and he's not like an outside coach that just works at an RTC someplace else. He works for USA Wrestling because Jaden Cox trains primarily out of Colorado Springs. So you would, in his mind, like, you don't have like any better legit like time frame. Like, this is my man. He told me this time. He works for USA Wrestling. We're in Colorado Springs.
I mean, since this is what we do, can I play conspiracy theory?
Oh yeah.
All right. So who is the #1 guy he's trying to knock off?
Kyle Snyder.
Who's his coach right now?
Cael Sanderson.
Who had Jaden Cox upset and frustrated a lot up until this year? Who did he always beat?
I mean, everybody. He's always beaten everybody.
But who was the American guy?
Oh, that Jaden Cox was beaten? David Taylor?
Yeah. Who was his coach?
I just did the ding, 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 connect the dots.
And who might happen to be sitting there going, and might happen to be the one that turns somebody in or miscommunicates something. I'm just saying.
Hey, and how long have I been saying I want to see them run it back one more time, because those two did not have good blood between each other from the.
And we've always said that like Dake and Burroughs didn't like each other, but Taylor and Cox hate each other.
So there's not like Yeah,
Yeah,
that
as
was
soon as that hit, I was like, who would turn him in? Oh, I know
see.
somebody that would turn him in.
I cannot stand you for pointing that out because now I am thinking that actually might have happened.
Now you can't unsee it in your mind.
Yeah.
Like,
It's going to come out in the appeal. It's going to be some grand conspiracy, and like it was heard here first.
Like
You were the
always,
one. Exactly.
like the same person who said Hodge trophy winners. That's all I'm saying.
it happened
Yeah.
on this show. I mean,
we have a track record for this though. I mean, we talked about doing the shorts and compression tops and all that. NCAA did that. We talked about getting away from the headgear and letting them grow beards. Like a year or two later, they allowed that. Like all these things that we've had ideas for.
the question, do we have to
RTC
wait a year to find out that David Taylor was like, I
Yeah.
just know that he was out there trying to make weight right now.
Yeah.
You know, like,
exactly. I mean, there's been so many
my
things that we've
goodness.
said on here that have been stolen, and I'm appalled that we have not been sent financial compensation for intellectual theft here.
Well, but then we do aliens and wings, so it all balances out.
Well, I mean, you win some, you lose some. I mean,
you know,
that
At least
and
send us
750.
some wings. That's all we ask for. Just send us.
yeah,
some.
I mean, yeah, come on. Whoever wants to like blow this one wide open and like, take credit for us, send us a gift.
Yeah, I don't know. That was the only thing that I started going through. I was like, someone had to turn him in. If he's still allowed to weigh in, that means and find out weighed in twice. That means someone had to appeal it. Someone had to. Otherwise, you and I both know we've all done wrestling our whole life. When scales are closed, there's somebody like scales are closed. He got on the scale not once but twice, and then was told, "Oh, you missed it. Not you missed weight. You missed the time."
Yeah, not like the door's closed. There's no scales available. Like they were still
Now,
there. Like
I don't know, man. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just throwing it out there.
Now here, I just kind of want to play like an idea here, run an idea out through, like just speak it out verbally and see what y'all think. If you have someone who weighs in before the deadline and they have, because if I'm not mistaken, it could be like MMA. Don't they have like a certain amount of time until they have to weigh in again, right?
No, they just did they did 2 hours because it was all done the same day.
That's what I'm saying. Like they have they have a time frame where they're allowed to try to work that way down for the second weigh in, right?
As far as I know, I think it's not like high school where
if you know
step
someone
off, we're not allowed to cut anymore. Like I think they're still okay before as long as the scale's still open.
Exactly. See, that's what I was going to say is after the scales close, if you have someone who is going to have a second weigh-in attempt, that should almost be a point where they're like, okay, such and such is going to be coming back in for a second weigh-in, even though we are closed to everyone else, because they're attempting a second weigh-in. They have like a 30-minute window or an hour window.
No, I mean, they use the same policy that we have in high school. The scales, the weigh-ins closed 2 hours prior.
No, absolutely. I'm saying, but do you think they should do that? Like, if you know someone is going to be coming in for a second weigh-in,
because then you and I both know what's going to happen. You're gonna.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
true.
So,
like I said, it's just something that popped in my head, and I want to kind of run it out. I gotta verbally speak it out.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that I don't know. I would like to see them do the Cox Snyder, because everybody pretty much knows, or even Cox Moore. Like, all right, Jaden, you got to wrestle Colin Moore, and then you got.
But if you don't beat Moore was the guy who won the thing. Then he was, and we're done there. That makes more sense than straight to, because as much as we all want to say we were all expecting him to go through it, it kind of says we still have to see it happen,
Yeah.
But you have to let Colin Moore know that like
now,
tomorrow, yesterday,
so that he has at least 2-3 weeks to body prepare. But see, here's the kicker with that though. Like in Colin Moore's mind, it's kind of like, why? What do I get out of this? Like.
Well, here's what you get. If you beat Jaden Cox, you are now you're the number 2 and you're the training guy at the Olympics.
Yeah. So again, why is he excited about this? Because he could potentially be number 3 and out.
Yeah,
it's lose. So, it's kind of like it's a lose.
It's a tough one for So this one is a tough one for Colin Moore, who's sitting on the outside of it.
We won't know. Lord knows, who knows when we'll find out, because the appeal process, and in USA Wrestling, they may just let it go.
Well, I think, I don't know. I mean, last time we
We'll find
actually had an appeal process and something go through was that whole Yanni and Zane thing.
But that went to the courts. So
Yeah,
that's
what
the
I'm saying.
thing. Like,
So
yeah,
unless this goes that way,
it will. They'll throw it in the court system.
you know.
Now, what
And
about the
that took
ones
how
for
long?
the?
Did that take 6 months before anything was resolved?
No, they put that one on the speed track because it was for World Spot.
And wait, how long did they have? Was it 3 months away or 2 months away?
I don't remember.
It seemed to take forever, but at the same time, happened quickly. Like that.
Yeah.
Now, kind of backtracking though, what about the guys who were like knocked out due to like close contact or like COVID and all that? I mean, I know it sucks, but like,
I think
you said, there has been a
like the precedence with this is it only happens to the guy who's the number one contender or the number one.
Like, yeah, like wasn't Jaden Cox sitting, like wasn't Jaden Cox like kind of like Kyle Dake, kind of like sitting there at the end? He didn't have to go through the bracket if I'm not mistaken.
Because he was a world medalist at the different weights, so they kind of
an Olympic medalist. So
so he does kind of have that clout of being in that exception zone. And let's be honest, I'm down with it because as much as I love Kyle Snyder, and I'll take Kyle Snyder or Jaden Cox, like I think this is for U.S. medals. We want to send our best guy, and having Jaden Cox fits the criteria of like you said, he was the number one guy. He was a previous world medalist. As much as I love like Siriano and those guys, it's not like I'm saying this about the guy that was ranked 5th in the tournament.
Right.
Who's out.
Even ranked, the guy that has to work his way through the tournament. We're talking about the guy that's
sitting already. So I
mean, it's not completely unreasonable to think though that Suriano could have also been in that position to where he was.
I really do. I guess we can head into those weights now, but
I mean, again, that it gets tricky. But no, with the Jaden Cox one though, the thing that the way I think about it is at that weight class, not yes, we want a medal there. We're going for like that spot, but like we need someone to beat Sadulayev, and we want to put the best person there to beat Sadulayev. And honestly, I mean,
Snyder or Cox, and I think
it's either Snyder or Cox. So, I mean, part of me would like to see them like overturn that. Like, okay, look, we're gonna have to do something to get this done. Whether it is let him go through Colin Moore first, or just have him straight go up against Kyle. I would feel real bad for Colin if that's what they did, that latter option, because it's like, he just because then if Jaden Cox loses to Snyder, then he's bumped down. If Snyder loses, then Colin Moore is bumped down either way. So it's kind of a bad situation for Colin Moore when you look at it, like regardless of what happens.
Well, at the same time, though, if I'm Colin Moore, I at least want to wrestle for it. Don't just jump him ahead of me.
Yeah.
Don't just. I mean, at least give me the chance.
So, which I wonder if there's anybody in his camp who there's got to be rumblings going on within those guys there and their coaches. So, Ohio State's RTC has got to be like saying, "Hey guys, knock, before you make a decision, don't forget." I would hope anyway that he's got somebody there advocating.
Exactly. All right, let's get to wrestling. I'm tired of this.
This is wrestling.
Well, let's get to where they actually put hands on each other.
All right. 57. Gilman wins it, but we're without Spencer Lee at this weight, and Dayton Fix gets taken out by my guy Vito, who I've been really big on lately. What do you guys think about that weight class?
I think when Spencer Lee went out, it was wide open, which I'd always said all along. I thought Spencer Lee was the cream of the crop in that. I thought he had proved it. But Gilman was a freaking stud. I thought that one had a lot of upsets with, like you said, Fix going out. Not as many as a couple other weight classes, but I don't know. And then Gilman just made Vito look almost pedestrian. It sounds crazy to think with how good he looked, but Gilman's positioning.
That's what I was gonna say. Like I was so like after watching the way Vito wrestled that tournament, the way he's just been wrestling lately in general, because we've been able to see him because he's Cornell guy, so he's been on everything that's not NCAA because they hadn't either. So like just seeing him and recency bias and just like being impressed by, or at least I was, and then seeing him go through that tournament, I was like, he's gonna beat Gilman. Like he's got something to it. And then Gilman just completely like put the Kabayashi on him, like, and no. And it was like all of a sudden, like there was no, it wasn't the veto that was like, it wasn't that, I don't know what it was. It was almost kind of like he did that. Like, and no, you will not be veto of the rest of this tournament. Like Vito just wasn't able to fire the stuff off and win the scrambles and to do the different things that he was throughout the rest of the tournament. And that's what surprised me was like, not only did I think Vito was going to win, but just how Gilman was able to like just shut it down. And I was like, ooh, kind of crazy good. Now, I hope he can replicate that at the Olympics, because that's one of our weights where we were notoriously do well domestically, but 57 internationally has been run by, Cubans and almost everybody else, especially on our guys. And a lot of 57 pounders get dumped on their head. And I feel really good about us going down. Like, we got a good 57 pounder. They look really good. They're world beaters and crap, so
yeah,
that's where we are there. Next weight up, who we got? Is that Jo?
That was Jo and McKenna.
Yeah. All right. So what do you guys think about that one? Jo finally coming through it.
Happy for him. I mean, I've been wanting it for a long. I still think I picked McKenna, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, I've been a fan of Jo. I've been wanting that. I've been wanting that for him for a long time now. And as much as I'm kind of bummed out that my prediction failed there, I'm happy. I'm happy for Jo, and I really hope he goes. I really hope he does something at the Olympics.
Yeah. Well, McKenna's run through Yanni. Didn't he knock out? No, Jo knocked out Yanni. Jo knocked out Yanni, and McKenna knocked out. Oh crud! It was another upset. It was one that
somebody else on his side of the weight that like there was something that happened over there.
But I was excited for Jo, and then at the same time disappointed because the weight's not qualified. We don't have that weight yet, so now he's got to go over.
Weights that we don't have qualified between that women's and Greco, I think each one.
Oh yeah. I thought you were talking about freestyle. So, yeah, but that's the only freestyle. So yeah, so that's the thing. Like I'm like I hope Jo goes and gets it, because like we said, all he's been through, and at the same time, you just have that fear that he's going to finally make the team, and then we don't wrestle it.
I know.
But that's the fitting of this. I mean, that's the way this sport's like life. You do everything, and then sometimes you just don't get it.
And especially a year after what just happened last year with, like already a postponement of a year. And I really I was so happy for Jo because Tyler, you guys both know, I love Jo. I love the way he wrestled. Ever since, not ever since, but even way back from that Logan Stieber match,
yes.
Been in Jo's corner, as far as watch him stylistically. And it's kind of like I relate him to Kyle Dake and David Taylor, and not in the sense of how he's great too, but when they were behind Burroughs every year and the guy not to make it, something would always happen to Jo, even though he doesn't have the stardom that those guys have. That it seemed like there was always that semis match or that one match or 1 year you had to sit out a year for a PED usage. There's just always been something that's been holding him back, and I've always been dude, if he could just go and be on top of his game, he is an international style wrestler.
Well, and you got to think, we're talking about two weight classes that going in, the favorites, the favorite didn't even get to wrestle because he won the NCAA tournament with no ACLs. The other one, the favorite, got knocked out in the semis, by Jo.
Yeah.
So, so you're looking at favorites, which shows the depth of the RTCs, the depth that we have with this.
So, but yeah, I hope.
Who did McKenna beat? Why is it not? Why can't
I can't. I don't know that off the top of my head either. When you said it, I was like, who was it on that side? Because I was so focused on the other side with the, Yanni Jo match, which that one was a heck of a match. Hell, I watched all those matches that Sunday morning because. What was it? Saturday, everything was, I don't know, the world was crazy, just running around doing stuff. Yeah. That whole Peacock to NBC thing back and forth was just, so.
But yeah, there was something I remember. I was like, good Lord, he just beat him. Wow. Okay.
And then Sunday morning, literally since I hadn't kept up with it, on YouTube, on their station, it just Devin was like, he'd already watched it. He was like, did you see the Jo and Yanni match? I was like, oh, he's like, watch it. So I pulled it up on YouTube, and then it just kept showing the next match. And I was like, oh, hell, I want to watch all these. So I just sat there drinking coffee and watching Matt and hollering at Devin, like, hey, come check this one out. Did you see? And he was like, I already watched them all, Dad. I woke up early. It's like,
we were watching them driving home from Iowa.
They were all good matches too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that match was another good one. Here, let me check it out real quick. I'll just put it up on YouTube.
Golly, I don't know why I can't think of it. Oh, I know why I can't, because I've started my school week and my brain is mush right now. Hey, how's that exam going, Tyler?
Me, I'm like studying and talking.
You're taking an exam right now?
No, I'm not taking the exam. I've got
It's okay. Ask the questions.
They're in French. They're in French.
Oui.
So I'm sitting here trying to study, and like I'm still listening. I know, like, I keep looking down, but like I'm paying attention, and I'm also like going back and forth. So I don't want y'all to think like I'm ignoring y'all or anything. I am paying attention.
I was like, he's not looking. I'll look it up. I thought that's what he was doing earlier.
I did too. No, he's over there studying French. No wonder.
Yeah.
Crepes. All right, Talladega Nights. You got to watch Talladega Nights. That's how you'll get your French.
Yes, crepes. I love crepes. Or it would be more like j'adore crepes. I don't know. But yeah, I actually asked my professor like earlier in the year. We had to do like cultural events and all that, and I said, because when they had the tournament in Paris, I said, hey, is it okay if I watch that and count that as a cultural event? Like, I can just turn on a French stream and watch it, and then we'll be good to go. He never got back to me, unfortunately. I still watched it, so it doesn't matter.
Typical French people.
Right? Exactly.
He was ignoring you.
Right.
I'm trying to go back on the track and just see if I can pull up the bracket real quick.
I don't have my phone. Otherwise, I'd look it up. So, but I can't. It was somebody because the Dustin Myers blew up on social media with McKenna. So anyway.
Oh, McKenna, he beat. Was it Zane?
Yes,
it was Zane.
Zane. There we go.
It was Zane because Dake bombed the other guy from Penn State. Not Zane, but now I'm gonna mess it. It was Zane Rutherford, and who's the other hammer that they had, right? Nolf.
Nolf, Jason Nolf. Yeah.
So Nolf got bombed by Dake, and which was, oh my god! Like in 20, I was like, Dake just bombed Nolf to his head.
Yeah, we were coming back, and Kel went nuts. He was like, "What? Watch this!" I was like, "Dang, all right."
Because Zane was the one that was expected to be facing Yanni in the finals.
It's supposed to be a rematch.
Yeah, that's what everybody was waiting for. Yeah, well, we just talked about it earlier too. We were just talking about it, like the whole court case. Like, all right, so we hope that Jo gets it. Hope he qualifies it.
Top two is I think they said Bulgaria or something like that.
That's crazy because and that what worries me about that is like it's not even a top three, like with a chance of a repechage. Like, you cannot lose until the finals. In international wrestling is scary enough as is versus putting the weight of an Olympic weight to qualify. So daggone. So if anything, I hope he does it. And I mean, I just can't be, more like nervous for anybody like on our team right now, because that is a feat in and of itself. Like, in a way, almost qualifying, like becoming the guy, is almost easier than now having to go qualify at the last chance qualifier.
Yep.
And this winning that weight was not an easy task. So that, if that says anything about all of that,
Yep. All right. Next. Hold on.
We're not to JB, are we? I think we are, because I'm so used to being 10 weights. We're only got 6 weights. JB's the halfway point, isn't he?
74.
Yeah, because it's JB.
And then we're going David
Taylor.
And then we're going
David Taylor.
Yeah. So it's the match that everybody wanted, everyone got, and
everyone was shocked by. Even though
it's one of those weird things. Like I told Tyler, I was like, as much as like I picked Dake before this one, however easily that can be said, like, because it's hard to always pick against Burroughs. But even though I picked Dake, I still had that sense of like, did that just happen? You know, like
weird.
watch it. It's surreal.
Yeah.
Like
The body language was not
Yeah.
what it was, and that it was kind of like, I don't know, man. It was
I
like
didn't see
something was off.
I didn't see the explosiveness and the when he never adjusted his socks.
Well,
You didn't see the JB sock adjustment. Hat
I
turned
felt
back,
like he
light
I
switch
felt like
on the
he
way on.
over respected the chest wrap because he was in on those shots, and you would see him get in, and instead of continuing, he would drop.
Yeah, he would drop straight to the ankle,
Drop
like
straight,
below
yeah.
the knee,
And
and
he
like hold on.
Dake didn't have it locked up. It was like he over respected. I don't know. I mean,
And okay, this is like really horrible to say on this part, but I mean, and there was even one part because he dropped so low, there was nothing else for Dake to do but sit on his head a couple times. Like, I was like, tell me that didn't happen in that match. But like,
it was like it was like the old lion knowing what's about to happen. You've been fending the young guy off, fending him off, and now it's like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna scrap. But at the end of the day, I kind of know that this is probably it. So that's what kind of, I don't know.
Yeah,
it was
a very surreal feeling. Like, and not to take anything away from Dake on how he wrestled his match. Because it was about as picture perfect as can be. But it still just felt weird. It was kind of like you watch it at the end and you're like, okay, here comes the JB Flurry. We're going to a third match. At least, I was thinking this one, and it never came.
Well, no, it did. It did come at the end of that second match, but it was way too late. He waited till like the last 30 seconds.
Not the way he normally comes at it. Like normally when you're like, JB made a sock adjustment, he's come back to center and you can't stop it. Like he flips that switch and it like, you think that there's no time for it and it comes through. This one, it just never, I didn't feel like it ever fired off on like.
Yeah. And Dake did a fantastic job of staying away and moving. He never gave him that stationary target. And maybe that was all of it. Like I said, Dake had a great game plan because he knows that explosiveness is, a problem for him. So, and that's where hopefully he goes to the Olympics and he Dake bombs a bunch of people and he beats all of them. So
I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, is there are y'all confident in Dake at least medaling?
I'm confident in Dake coming back with gold. Like,
yeah. I mean, I am too, but like I would be very surprised if he doesn't medal, and I say that knock on wood. But
it's
like
the Olympics, they screw us.
I mean, we've had that feeling before, and
and that's what is so weird about this. Like, I picked Dake. I felt it was oddly surreal that Jordan lost, but going into it, like watching Dake internationally, I feel confident in Dake coming back with gold. Watching Jordan recently internationally, I'd be confident with him coming back with bronze, because
there's
the
one guy, Shimizu. Remember, we talked about how Shimizu didn't really open up. And so that's the one that, but the way Dake wrestled, I don't know, man.
Yeah, the way Dake wrestled was different. So,
yeah. So, I mean, maybe he's kind of just like downloading like what he saw and like, kind of like what he saw.
Nah.
Shimizu is the ultimate superstar of like, I'm not going to wrestle you full tilt. I'm not going to give you the full feel. It's okay that I lost because I'm still Shimizu. Let me go eat some cheesecake and go train. And I'm going to come in here and drink some champagne before I weigh in and somehow still be a superstar. Like,
exactly.
He is an enigma of wrestling.
Yep.
And like, as much as like it's the fits he's given our guys, I mean, if you don't like him, I don't know what to say about it. Like, you gotta love him though. Like it's wrestling like he is, in fact, a superstar. Like he does wrestling like Tom Brady does, like or any top level quarterback does football. Like his lifestyle, he knows who he is. He's just like
he's the Dennis Rodman from our era of the Bulls. That's what he is.
Yes, there it is.
He's like, I'm gonna be me, man. And
Dennis Rodman was I don't even say what is a wild dude. That man is oof.
Yes, that sums it up perfectly. So
Not to the
Yeah.
extreme of Rodman, but that's
So,
yes.
but like, yeah,
Yes.
but exactly that he is that.
Yeah. Now
All
I want to ask y'all this. What do y'all think is next for Burrows? Do y'all think this is the end of the Burrows era, or do you think he comes back again? And
So selfishly, I wanted him to put his shoes down. Selfishly, I did.
I
But
yeah.
I can see him holding on because if Dake goes back up, I can see him trying to do another couple of runs to get some more world medals just to add to it at 74 plus his contract. And you never know if contract with a Penn RTC, even though they know he's going to go into coaching. But yeah, I mean, selfishly, like a lot of people, I wanted you to put him down and say thank you. But
And I don't think enough of our guys do that. Like, and even to an extent of like, say he makes that decision another time, I still want him to be allowed to walk out to the next international tournament or domestic freestyle tournament like the Bill Farrell or something else, but like, this is for you fans, and be able to like walk out and set him down. Just so that we have this symbolic gesture is what I would hope. I agree 100%. I think he wrestles 2, maybe 3 more years. I don't know if he's got another cycle in him, just because of his body language, but I do think he's got another 2, 3 at most years, getting some world medals, Dake's back up away, and the U.S. team being able to go for the team title because of now we've got that run of, JB, Dake, our conspiracy theory Magic Man, throw the alien in there and get, so we have a team run that they could potentially do while spread out still. And I do think he's very much a team player because he's always like, he can't help it. He's played that grandfather role for those young guys as that team player. And I don't think he's ready to step away from competing.
Yeah.
I just don't know if we see a full cycle out of him.
Yeah.
So, all right. Speaking of which, let's talk about the man, the myth, conspiracy, Magic Man, who magically got J'den Cox out of the trials. Not
him, maybe his coach.
But who's behind it all? The man.
How about we start off with the fact that everybody got to see early in the tournament the match that should have been for the world position a few years ago, when Nickel absolutely smashes. I totally forgot his face.
PD3, Pat Downey.
There you go. Pat Downey totally smashes him.
Now he totally smashes him, but people have got to recognize that PD was legit at least the number 2 guy because he not only came back. I think Valencia beat him for 3rd, but he still came back to wrestle for 3rd and was still So the people that hated the fact that he was our guy, again, should blame David Taylor because DT did not tell Bo he had the injury was going out. Bo avoided him and went up. So if he would have been the person, again, we're going back conspiracy theory. DT's the card holder here. He's the Magic Man. He's holding all the tricks in his hand. He's the reason why Bo Nickel is not a world medalist right now.
Hey, so side note, did Mark Hall even wrestle in the trials?
Didn't he get smashed by like PD3?
Because he would have been in that weight class. That's the only reason I asked, is because he would have been in that weight class.
I think Mark Hall, last time I saw him wrestle was when they were all overseas just recently. And I think he wrestled PD3, and I think PD3 beat him like Nickel beat
he may have
PD3. Because I remember seeing he went over there and he goes, love it when you fly 8 or 12 hours internationally to wrestle 4 U.S. guys in one tournament.
Ah, I got you.
I
got you. Yeah.
I do remember him posting that.
Yeah. I mean, this bracket went pretty much, when I looked at it, I was like, oh, it's going to be Nickel and Taylor. I mean, it was like, who's it going to be? And then we all know what it is. And this is another one that I really wish Nickel would have put his shoes down and went, all right, boys, time to go get in the cage.
Yeah, I full-heartedly was like, okay, he's not beating David Taylor, going up, he's not going to beat J'den Cox. I mean, he's already been doing jiu-jitsu and other things. He's already 1 foot out the door. I really think last year, him not going, not last year, year before last year, but him not going his weight, that was his shot. That was his time. We saw it could have been him, and he could have been a world medalist. Instead, I think he is our guy to say, hey, love y'all, but it's time to go.
Yep. So that's one guy that we feel like is gone to
Yeah.
another career. We'll get to the other one here 2 weight
Now,
classes.
and I don't fault him at all for it. I
No,
think-
that's where he should be.
yeah, you know, I mean, go make that money, man. Like I am, you know, and then come back to these tournaments and come back and support USA Wrestling and come back and still be a role model and sign autographs for these kids and, you know, everything
Yep.
else. So
I figured Tyler'd be all over that he's too busy wee-weeing.
I know.
Yes.
I was like, we would. I was like, did I miss him? Did he go sit on the
French.
toilet? No, he's still. Sorry, other wee French. Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, I just stepped away for a second. I heard them, so I had to go check that out, and then
I got you.
but yeah, I don't know. It's this whole. Yeah, I don't know. Y'all
Yeah.
keep going.
All right,
I kind of lost my train of thought just now.
We'll jump back
I had exactly what I was going to say. Now I can't think of it.
Now, okay. Speaking of like people retiring, do we think PD3 retires and goes in and heads on that MMA route as
He
well?
should. I
should.
say he should go the MMA route. I don't
I want to
see
see him and Bo Nickel go at it again, except this time punching each other in the face. Like
Yeah.
That would be fun.
I was like,
Yeah, totally.
I think that would be a legit match to watch. Like I don't think it'd be as one sided as the wrestling match.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think so either.
So I
don't
think
so
it'd be
either.
fun just as a fan to watch that one.
All right, Snyder and Colin Moore, we've already kind of touched on it. Is there anything else we need to say? I mean, Snyder came out the first match and was absolute beast, and it looked like he just kind of coasted because he didn't want to embarrass his old teammate in the second one. I mean, that's kind of what I felt.
I think that I am very curious to see either what happens with him and Cox, like if there is a wrestle off, or how he does at the Olympics, because there's been a lot of talk about his move to the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club.
He looked a lot different. I will say that. I
Snyder?
had a lot of I had a lot of doubt, but watching him at the trials, he looked a lot different to me.
Watching him wrestling Colin Moore, I wasn't too like. He seemed a little. What's the word I'm looking for? He seemed a little. I just wasn't like. I'm not.
I think
I'm not taking anything away from.
He just didn't pour on the gas on his old teammate, you know.
Yeah,
know each
and that's
other.
what it could have been. Like to me, it just didn't seem like
there
he
was nothing
really
for it.
impressed me that much with how his match with Colin went.
Which is why
I'm used to him being so boxy and just a little here, a little there. So I guess like the motion and everything is what I'm getting at. Like it was like a lot more explosiveness that I've seen.
Yeah, but like my problem is like he's always been like a step above, like a tier above everybody at his weight domestically. So he's still a step above domestically, you know. So it's kind of hard to tell, like, is he just doing new fun things because he can, or it has I want to see like, was this move legit and is he really stepped up that level? Is he ready to take on it?
I think it was a little glimpse because internationally he hasn't had the success.
That's what I'm
But
saying. Like, we
you've
still
seen it's almost like you've been holding back, and I guess that's what's like you've been trying. But now you started kind of like you started to like open up the gas a little bit to see. Oh, okay, this is it.
So with me in that way, I just want to either see what happens between the whole Snyder Cox possible scenario, and I want to see what this move has done for him. Like,
Yep.
yeah, has it done for him what it's done for Gilman? Gilman was able to shut it down. Like, you know, like even though it is still the weirdest thing to see Thomas Gilman, Nittany Lion Wrestling Club, Iowa Hawkeye alum, like when they've had like some of these things, like it was during NCAA's when they had like there was like a little mini video clip of like I guess those guys, the Scrap Life guys from Nittany Lion watching watching the NCAA tournament, and like they're all cheering for Penn State in there because they were all Penn State guys, and you got Gilman in the mix kind of cheering with them, and I'm like, one doesn't belong. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He just didn't. Still just didn't fit, and I'm like, but what it did for him on the mat, I think we can see. I just want to see if that holds true for Snyder as well. And I don't think we'll see it until we go international.
There's always times to change to try to shake things up. So now, did anybody think anything different was going to happen at heavyweight?
No, like I was honestly, I was surprised that Gable was ranked number 2 because I was like, he's already beaten Wiz, but even though that was, I guess, at the cup thing, it wasn't like a
it didn't count.
it wasn't a ranking tournament, but I was like, not only did he beat him, but it didn't look hard then, and it definitely wasn't hard now.
So we finally have a heavyweight that can win gold.
You know, again, like that's bringing it back to, you know, Bruce Baumgartner era of, you know.
And that's my second guy that I think I said he's going to win NCAA gold, Olympic gold, and then he already showed it, the belt. So, I mean, he's pretty much says what he's going to do.
I'm wondering how he's going to incorporate that backflip into his finishing move. So,
look,
be honest, this is kind of wild, but like, even though I'm a big pro wrestling fan, I really don't want him getting into professional wrestling. I don't want.
Just I want to see him continue to like he stayed with wrestling, could blow up what Jordan Burroughs did, what John Smith did with the amount of international medals and golds, like world medals, Olympic medals, because he is, as Nick pointed out last time, still only 20 years old.
Yeah.
All right. So you take him, and how old is JB right now?
32, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we go 34, 38. That's 3 more Olympic golds and every world medal in between. Just to 32, just to where JB is right now.
That's Karelin. That's Karelin levels.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Granted, there's a lot at stake in the future, injuries, but the level of which he is right now,
and probably done without steroids.
But, he doesn't.
I'm not saying Karelin was on them, but
no,
you know, his body style is different. But
no Soviet or Russian has ever, never willingly. Only government forced. They've never willingly.
Government even wouldn't do that. We all want to stay alive, guys. We all want to stay alive.
That's
okay.
Right.
Government.
Putin didn't sign. He didn't sign any papers telling them to do it.
No, but the thing about Gable though is like, for one reason I don't want to see him to go, at least not to the WWE, because the WWE is just, there's a big possibility that they're going to ruin him. Like, they're going to give him some stupid gimmick after a while, like if something's not working. And 2, it's just like, I feel like if he wanted to take a step away from wrestling and do something else, I feel like MMA would be the better choice for him. I mean, I would much rather see him step in an octagon or a cage of some sort than
they're selfish.
Than a professional wrestling ring.
Part of me thinks that maybe he really doesn't want to get punched in the face that hard. Like,
and there's that too. But then at the end of the day, it's like, if he's not going to do that, I would rather him stay in wrestling. I would rather him stay in wrestling first, then MMA, and then if all possible, then go to like WWE.
I'm with you, man. I want to see him stay. I want to see him do another year. I want another cycle. I want all that stuff. But I think he's gone, and I think he's on a faster track than The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's going to be something it's going to blow up, and it's going to be like, oh crap, and then next thing you know, he's going to be out of it.
He's already gone too, because I think he reminds me of Aaron Pico. Like, Aaron Pico already had it mapped out. He was going to do this, this, and this, and he was already moving on to the MMA world. You know, I think Gable Stevenson has a very similar game plan.
Aaron Pico scares me.
But can we not? But like, it's kind of like one of those things. It's like, what we want is for selfish reasons, which I'm fine with us being selfish about wanting to see them. But like, I mean, who are any of us faults for having that career path, having it laid out, and it's going to be successful? It's like, you know, like you said, I
mean, they're going to drop a piece of paper after the Olympics already. That's going to have at least 5, if not 6 zeros. Before the comma. I mean, before the period. So like, it's which one of us would turn that down?
You mentioned Aaron Pico, and Aaron Pico, he terrifies me. Like, I don't know. Have y'all been keeping up with him in Bellator?
A little bit, like when he has a fight coming up or something. Yeah, I try to.
What worries me the most is that he's very good. Like, he's got dynamite in his hands and all that, but he's been knocked out 3 times, I think now, like pretty badly. Like, I'm not talking about like TKO. I'm talking about like body go limp. Like,
he's been knocked out, like he's taking people out. So
and it's one of those things that like at his age,
but he's taking time, and it's been a while since that's happened. And he's fought once or twice since that last time he got dropped.
But once you get cracked like that, your chin only gets worse. Like, it gets worse with each and every time, and you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to turn into Chuck.
I would agree with that.
That's what I worry about.
We haven't seen it happen to guys like Aaron Pico at his age. Like, normally we start seeing guys get cracked like that. They're toward the end of their careers. They're older. Mm-hmm. They're already maybe contemplating, a couple more fights and being out. So they're already on the outward, like his body, like this is Aaron Pico. It could be like, all right, he had 3 of those happen. He's young enough. He's gone into training, and his body has come back stronger and fitter for it. I don't know. Like we haven't.
Yeah, but
seen,
when it comes to stuff like
I don't
that,
think
there's not
that's
really
possible, really. But
yeah.
We're not used to seeing it at the beginning of somebody's career versus toward the end of somebody's. And
yeah, no, we're not. But at the same time, we know what happens. Like that's not something that you can work on and get better at. Like you can't work on getting punched in the face. Like after you've been flatlining like that, like I said, your brain, like it slowly starts because it's like a safety device. It shuts off for a good reason. And so what happens is like when you get knocked out like that 2 or 3 times, your body's just gonna resort to that if it gets clipped again. And the thing I worry about is him being so young. How many more times is he gonna have to deal with that?
So
And the older he
maybe
gets,
his brain's
how
not
much
smart
worse
enough
is it
to
gonna
figure
get?
it out. Which
yeah,
Tyler's the one that called him not smart, not me.
Yeah,
I'm not going. I'm not. Well, I am going to kind of play devil's advocate. He is so high profile in the wrestling community that we're really watching his development. So we're seeing it and looking at it, like you said. How many other new MMA guys that are fighting at Joe's Armory down here on Saturday night, in front of 14 people with 12 teeth, are getting knocked out more than this, but then they work their way up. So I agree totally with what you said. I mean, a guy that's had about a concussion, I think. I don't remember. Not a joke. They're nothing to joke about. But you're exactly right. Your body does, and the second one comes quicker. If you don't take it, like you said, exactly. I mean, those are exactly right. I just wonder sometimes if like we focus because we do.
If
focus
there is
on
something
him.
to that, like especially with today's science and medicine, if there is something that could be done and that they could be training for.
Well, there's something that can be done, and it's something that he has yet to do, and I don't understand why. And that's utilize your wrestling. He is a great wrestler. Why not take people down? You completely avoid that altogether. Like you don't have to worry about getting knocked out if you're laying on top of somebody. I mean, look at Ben Askren.
Has anybody taken a shot on him yet for him to even like?
No, and that's the thing. It's like he's got dynamite in his hands. Why not take them down and then punch them while they're on the ground? That way you're in less danger. Like, I don't know. It just baffles me. It baffles me.
I think he needs to hang out with Ben Askren a little bit and then learn what Ben Askren, because that's what Ben Askren did to everybody. So.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
All right.
Hey, no, we got to talk about the 2 teenage females making the final. I was like, don't dish the girls now, man.
So we got to get in that. Well, I was actually going to start with Helen Maroulis and then work our way down, but
you can jump in. I thought we were
2 girls,
teenagers.
One's a junior and one's a senior.
Yeah.
Like one of them, like Blades was the name of one of them, right?
Blades was the 17-year-old junior.
So first off, her name is just freaking killer, Blades. Like she's like and cut everybody up through that tournament. Like I don't care, play on words, whatever you want to say. I was just like, holy smokes, she is legit. And then the other one who wrestled, Adeline Gray, her quote that she goes, like, they were my heroes until they became my competitors. And I was like, yeah. Holy cow. Like talk about like can you imagine like walking into that tournament and being like, it'd be like, like somebody walking in and be like a high schooler who is in love with Kyle Dake and Jordan Burroughs and all them, and then all of a sudden in the finals with them.
Yeah.
Like, what? Just what? Like, what happened? Like, holy cow. What does that have to say about the development of women's wrestling in our country right now? And especially at this freestyle level where most women's, when they go to in high school, it's still folk style, but from my understanding, all women's wrestling in college is freestyle based. So they spend a lot more time also doing freestyle kind of during the year, even though like they, if you're wrestling with the boys, you have to wrestle folk style.
Yeah.
Is there again something to that argument of if we wrestled freestyle, at what level would we be at internationally? Because these girls who are doing it are coming out of high school and now being the ones in the finals.
I will say I saw a dramatic improvement in the women's wrestling. I was still very yelling at the screen numerous times in the finals where they had stuff and it was almost like they forgot it was freestyle where they could have like just jumped and got the back points, but they still had the folk style. So but it's gone a long way from middle school, high school-esque wrestling to elite level. But it's not just that. I think it is the Adeline Grays, the Helen Maroulis, the stock. I totally lost both.
Stock.
Yeah, I mean it's gone into what all they've done, the Allie Raismans, to showcase the level of wrestling that has made those girls, and the Wrestle Like a Girl movement that is across this nation is fantastic. So I'm excited to see it, the advancement and what all is taking place as they continue to grow. But yeah, you're right. It speaks volumes to it. Will it ever hit the high school level? I don't think so, because can you imagine South Carolina or even Alabama officials now having to call freestyle rules? No, thank you, sir. Please, no, thank you, sir. Hey, never mind. I'll bring that back.
I'm turning my coaching card right now for that one.
But yeah, dude, it was awesome to watch. Golly, it was so fun to watch them just scrap and wrestle the way you want to see high level people wrestle. So I was pumped about it across the board. So
yes. All right. We got to mention, just because the emotion that was there, the emotion of and the classmanship of all of our wrestles, that Helen Maroulis, Jenna Burkhart match.
Yeah.
Like, good gosh, talk about the epitome of joy and breakdown. Like, there's that one camera angle where Helen was like jumping up and down, and then the one where like her mouthpiece just like fell out. Like, that was almost like they could have been more emotional than the Jordan Burroughs one. I think we all, like, as wrestlers, and have followed that Jordan Burroughs, Kyle Dake, that transitional shift, like the emotion that we felt in that moment, the look at it and everything else like that, just because of the history there. But taking that away, like, that moment in that match was like, daggum, if you want to talk about emotion of this sport wrapped up into one moment, right there says it all. Like,
I wish that they would have done a better job, which, you know, we always want it to do better. But the fact that they had them on 3 mats simultaneously, you had to, unless you had 3 TVs, you had to pick. And so we were literally sitting there going, all right, which one do we want to watch? All right, let's watch this one. And then it was like, oh, now let's watch this one. So that I wish there would have been a way to, you know, multi-screen or something.
Because what I had to do was I literally like did the multi-screen like on the computer screen, and then shared it to the bigger TV where we could do that. And then I was happy when they went to 2 mats, because then I could just like put 2 things next to each other. I was like, you know, if ESPN can show 4 to 8 matches on one screen, like when you had that choice, like, come on now, it's not that hard of a decision-making thing to be able to do that for whoever is hosting and showing that. They should have done that. What I did like about it was, again, I wanted to get into this as well, because Greco Lives Matter as well.
Yes.
The fact that they did show each one, and it wasn't like the Greco tournament was a week before and nobody watched it.
Right.
So I appreciated the fact that they had all 3 going at one time. I really liked it. I just hated how they presented it on TV. Like, by only having one, and then what they did was it rotated through. So I was like, which one do I want the volume on or off? And like,
we were on one time, and it was John Smith and everybody. Then we rotated over to another one, and it was the track, which was fine. But you have the normal guy. But it'll get to ESPN does it because we as an audience have shown we want to watch it. NBC, as wrestling fans, we have to show them we want to watch it, and then they will do it. I mean, it's going to be the same thing when the Olympics come on. When are we going to be put on? Oh, maybe 11 o'clock, 1, 2 in the morning. Exactly.
So we're going to have to find it too, and we're going to have to put multiple screens up if we want to get it.
And if somebody wins a gold medal, it'll be a little clip of about 15 seconds, and 12 of that is them running around with the flag.
Yeah, and then we'll watch basketball lose or something like that and spend more time with that. But
the NCAA tournament was on national TV the entire time this year.
Yes.
I don't know if y'all noticed that.
Yeah.
Like, in years past, I mean, and y'all might have said that. I might have, like,
but they still held out and paused off on it while they were finishing off some other garbage for our finals.
Oh my gosh. Let's go talk about the Nobody Cares tournament.
Exactly. Yeah. That made me mad. But at the same time, at least we had that platform.
Yeah.
Because in years past, you were having to either watch it through like ESPN3 or like the app or something. This time they had it on the second channel for the like the
ESPN2,
earlier
yeah.
rounds were this.
Or
Yeah, it was
ESPN News,
ESPN2, and then like the nightcaps were on ESPN.
Well,
So it's like we actually had that exposure the entire tournament for once, and
Yeah.
that was phenomenal to me.
and as much as we hate to say it, we know why they didn't shut off from the not in the tournament game, because the not in the tournament game gives them more sponsorship money than the wrestling does. But it's still garbage because you're talking about people. Anyway,
What I did find was like
We'll
flipping
jump off
through
that.
the channels trying to find it. Was there was a wrestling command center, and
Yeah.
I didn't realize the other thing was on hold. I just thought I was like, "Will return." I was like, "Why is it not playing?" Because it's just through the apps for me. And then I found this command center thing, which is really kind of cool because like it showed the map, had two screens on the coaches. I was like, I kind of like this layout better than the people talking and they just run out. And I was like, I can watch the coaches and the match. I was like, I'm leaving it on the command center. This is better than listening to those jokers over there. Like,
You sound like a college football fan who doesn't like the commentators. So you put it on mute.
And then
it's not the commentators I had a problem with this year. It was the referees. Those referees this year were horrible.
All right. Let's not get into that one. I do have to talk about the thing I sent. I think I sent Tyler a clip of it. The D'Angelo was Hawkins. Was that his name? The Greco guy.
Yeah.
Dude hit that slip headlock. Did you see this one, Nick? I gotta go back.
I don't think I've hit this. I don't think I've seen. Or if I did, I just want to.
Easiest thing of the tournament, and it was so beautiful. I can't want to get a hold of a middle school kid because they're little and try it on them. All right. Kid, like the guy slips a headlock, right? And normally you slip a headlock, you're gonna slip it, you're gonna bring it back up. D'Angelo said, nope.
He's
Caught him, ripped it backwards with a back arch, and threw him. And
Like a reverse gut?
Except wrapped around his head.
Oh, even better. Oh.
Like, it was like a
yes,
it was almost like
an arm was like, and I was like, okay, he's just gonna hold it, establish control, like he didn't slip. I'm holding him, and then like maybe forward roll it or something. No, back arch. I was like, oh my god, beautiful, nasty, break somebody's neck. Like,
where's my son? I'm taking my son to the trampoline park. Come here, I gotta try this.
Yes, I'm gonna
run into the foam pit. Stand right here, son.
I'm gonna find that clip and I'm gonna send that to you, and then you go find Kale, and you guys go take care of that.
I don't know. He's getting bigger. I might have to find somebody smaller. I may have to do a middle school, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was like. I say middle schooler, but my kid's about to outgrow me on size over here too. So he's gonna be in middle school. Let me go find some other new little kid.
Oh my goodness gracious!
All right, good post trials thing. What do we have next? When is that next chance qualifier? That's probably the next big thing going on, because that's
I don't know. I'd have to look at it and see, but I'm going to throw this out there. Rumor mill, National Federation rules coming in. Rumor mill. Understand this.
Okay.
4-point near fall.
My college.
Coming to high school. That's the rumor mill. And
I like it because it makes so much more sense. You get to a 2 count, you get your 2, and then it's 3, 4. Instead of the I got to 4, it's 2, and we got to 5, it's 3. Like,
yeah, that's rumor mill. And then the other one that looks like got a pretty good chance is finally bringing in the 1 point inbounds. So those are the 2 that are looking like they're like one body part inbounds.
One point of contact.
1 point of contact. Yeah.
I was like, huh?
1 point of contact. Those are the 2. Rumor mill that I've gotten is that those are the 2 that look like they're. I think 4 is almost a definite, but the 1 is now with the being able, if you hit the ground off the mat, it makes it dead. I think there's been enough studies, but I think those are the 2 that from the people I'm hearing, it sounds like those might be the 2 rules that come in next year.
I would love to see the 1 point of contact rule.
Yeah, those ones.
And it gets rid of all the pinning things. It frees up so many. And I think that's another reason why.
The whole, like, if you're on your toes, they're out, but if you're on your knees, they're in. But like you're taught to and somebody on your toe, like that whole
yeah, because it's very convoluted. Like when you look at it, it's like how many points of contact do you have to have.
I'm also for anything that makes it easier for the officials to not mess up.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
I think
we all know outside of high school and middle school season, we all know every tournament, 1 point of contact.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So yeah, that's the two that I've heard. A few weeks ago, I was talking to one of the guys around here and I was like, "What's coming in?" He said he feels like 4 is pretty much definite, and 1 point of contact is got a lot of traction, so it could happen too. So I was like, "Well, when are we getting rid of when are we gonna have facial hair?" And he was like, I was like, "Well, gotta try."
Yeah.
Coach Purdy says that he asks that same thing all the time.
No,
when is he going to have facial hair?
He just wants to know. Yeah, exactly. When is he going to have? I don't know, man. For 20 years, I've been asking the same question.
Like, full beard is in effect right now. What are you talking about? Like,
that's like
I can't see it.
That's 14 more hairs than he had when I met him.
I haven't shaved since quarantine started like a year ago, man. This is where we're at, okay?
Man, I got a straight razor shave yesterday at the barber, and it's already growing back. Like I can feel the stubble is real already. I'm like, it's so weird. I remember like in high school, I used to struggle with like growing facial hair, and then it was like the day after I graduated, my hormones were like, no, you're getting a full beard now, whether you want it or not.
It's when he started taking steroids. He went to Russia.
Oh yeah,
that's right. Yeah, most people take a trip to
I can't confirm or deny that.
Like their senior trip is like Paris. Tyler's like, I want to go to Mother Russia.
Should have gone his junior year, so his senior he would have walked in.
Yeah, we just went a year late.
Oh man, that reminds me. You're talking about Russia. Before we go, have I ever told you about my Dagestani story?
Oh, here we go.
Oh gosh. Okay, so as y'all know, I train jiu-jitsu and all that.
Wait, you train jiu-jitsu?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know.
Exactly, right? Like I've never mentioned it before. No, we were training, and Brandon, the owner of the gym, told me, he's like, he's got one of his good friends. He's like, he's going to be training today. He's from Dagestan, and the kid is from Dagestan. And he told me, he's like, yeah, he's got all these years wrestling over there. He's pretty good wrestler and all that. I want you to roll with him. So I'm rolling with him, and I'm like hitting these moves. And I'm going hard with my wrestling on him because I'm like, no, I want to say I've beaten a Dagestani guy. And I'm just like kind of ragdolling around a little bit, like hitting all these takedowns and stuff. And after the round, I'm talking to him, and he was like, yeah, you must have wrestled. And I was like, yeah, Brandon said you did too. He's like, what? I've never wrestled before in my life. Brandon told me that just to mess with me. And I felt so bad because I was throwing this guy and like taking him down, and he's just a white belt. And I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking he's like a Dagestani wrestler. And I felt so bad after. I was like, oh no. And Brandon looks at me, and I was like, Brandon, I thought you said he wrestled. He's like, no, man, I was just messing with you. I was like, no, I just beat up on this poor guy. For
you never should have said
minutes.
anything. You could have just said, I once beat this Dagestani national champion in jiu-jitsu. But no, you said you've been hanging out with Purdy too long. Purdy is he is the king of terrible endings. Great beginning, climax, crash. You two have been together way too long.
That would have been a much better story. I beat a Dagestani national champion.
But no, you set it up. You Purdy'd it. You set it up. He came in, and then thanks. Good job, Purdy.
It's just like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, right?
Oh yeah, the great twist ending. The great twist ending.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Hey, make up for it. Give me an alien. Give me a wing. Something. Give me something.
Give you something.
You got to make up for it. That's what we always told Ed, and then he would just go to sleep. But
controversial take. Garlic Parmesan wings are better than teriyaki. I don't know. That's all I got today. That's all I got.
It depends on the day. I'd probably lean with that one.
Yeah, I think it is. I think garlic parm is better than teriyaki.
I mean, if I'm going for something other than mild, I'm probably going garlic parm. I mean,
pretty good call. Pretty good call there.
Oh, speaking of things that are Asian, what did you think of those singlets, Birdie?
Speaking of things that are which singlets?
Yeah, for the tournament. Sorry, we've been so past it now.
Hanging up now.
Hey, you go back to studying French and Dagestani.
All right, and just so that we don't get anybody on my man over here, this Asian, and I know he's talking about Brutus singlets with the dragon on it in preparation for the 2021 was slick, well marketed.
I was lost for a while.
Yeah, just to keep anybody from lynching my man Tyler over here. I am all about the Stop Asian Hate right now.
I thought it was cool.
Yes,
but I thought it was cool.
Yes, so Tyler knows not what he means when he says these things, people. I
was trying to get the subject
singlet that those guys all had on which were, matter of fact, I did like them. I liked them both. And last take before, I still don't understand why, because the Rudis has shown that they can put those out and the Rudis guys can wear them and they look cool. Why the rest of freestyle singlets are just boring. Like, like in a way they say, they all have to say Titan Mercury Wrestling Co. because they own everything. But why are they've shown that they can come out and do some different things that look cool while still doing the red and blue. I think from a marketing standpoint, I think it'd be good for viewers. And then I really still think back on when we talked about it, I still think specific RTCs need to do a better job about putting out a better singlet to represent them. But I think I've saved Tyler for now. I'm going to go be a jerk somewhere else a little bit.
No, I was trying to take the subject off of me, and then like right after I said that, I was like, oops, that came out way worse than I meant it to come out. But
that's what we'll get hit with.
Exactly. What that's going to be the thing that gets us like a first strike or something.
Or like 100 million views, and we'll be like, that's what we're talking about.
There we go. That could be it.
Either which way, we'll roll with it.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we get our money. No, I'm kidding. That we would not sacrifice our moral.
No, not for that. No,
not for money.
Not on that one. We're gonna die on another hill, but it won't be that one today.
I'll die on the hill that Purdy's a jerk because he's wearing the shirt. So that's what I'm going with. Purdy's a jerk.
All right, well, let me go get to work on those things.
I was supposed to. Apparently, they were. I mean, I was expecting something this week, but somebody's slacking over there.
I mean, he gave me mine. I mean, I don't know.
He's got ink on his hands, so I mean, he's been working on something. But
got a few projects going on.
He gave me a few shirts the other day that said that. Those must have been yours by accident. I don't know.
They are. One of them's probably a small one. That little small child that's going to be with me in a few weeks. He'll be. You don't want to mess with him.
Which is perfect for me because I have to wear my small to look bigger. So
your schmediums.
My schmediums.
Medium. All right, guys. We'll hire you and we'll figure out when the next thing going on is, and we'll hopefully get back on soon.
All right, sounds good.
See ya.
All right, see you guys.